What's up, guys? Welcome back to Let's Play Basara 2! So we're moving on with Keiji's Conquest, and this time we're going up against Sengoku Yukimura. Who saw that coming? I think we all did. So once again, as per the previous video, I'm going to be showing off some different secondary attacks here. Hopefully bring some more variety to the gameplay. Speaking of gameplay like this, I'm happy to report that not only is this game fully recorded up until the ending, so I have every character fully test played and recorded that I planned to do for this game, but also Basara 2 Heroes, the expansion, is ready for recording, and I'm planning on recording a lot more games in this sort of genre, the warrior-style conquest games, including Fate Extella is the next one. It's fully test played on the Japanese Vita version, and I'll be doing maybe a couple of videos with that. I bought a device that's going to allow me to record off of the Vita, which I was not able to do before because the PlayStation TV, for some reason, has encrypted HDMI, so I wasn't able to record off of it with my capture device, which is really stupid. Sony really has to stop doing that if they want us to enjoy their products. But anyway, so I'll be able to record the Vita version of Extella, and then by the time the English version comes out on January 17th, I'll be able to fully do that Let's Play right off the bat on the HD, enhanced PS4 version at its full potential. So that'll be very exciting. I'm very much looking forward to that game. As over the top and crazy as this game is, that game is even more absurd and makes even less sense. But at least it doesn't claim to be based off of actual history. It does claim to feature historical figures, much like this game does, but in a very different way. Obviously, next off is Berserk Band of the Hawk, which comes out in February. I've obviously not played the Japanese version at all, because I actually don't know if it's launched in Japan yet. I think it might be a simultaneous release with America and Asia as well. But there will be a physical Vita release for that in Asia and a PS4 release in America. So I may get the Asian Vita version and the American PS4 version. This is also true with like I said, with Extella and with let's see what else. Oh, with the Koei Tecmo Attack on Titan game that came out. That's another game I want to try to record and Let's Play, is the Attack on Titan game. So we'll see how that goes. I have the English PS4 version, but I just got it off of layaway a little while ago, but I've not played it yet. Now, that one also got a physical release on the Vita in Japan, so that I might pick that up for collectability as well. And then also, Dragon Quest Heroes 2 is coming out in America this summer, so I'm very excited about that. I've been playing the first game quite a bit, and the second game is already out in Japan on the Vita. And we never got a Vita release for the first one, and we probably will not get a Vita release for the second one as well. Very, very few publishers and developers are making games for the Vita, but the ones that are much appreciated in my book. So we'll dodge a couple of arrows here and move on. I'm going to talk about Keiji's alternate moves here for a little bit. We have one where he equips his scabbard again and slams the ground with it, which is not his charge attack. His charge attack is really weird, but it does take a long time to actually get that off, so I don't recommend it really. Just because of the way that, the AI in these games is pretty generous with not hitting you right away as soon as they see you, so you can kind of just attack, and you can just hack and slash indefinitely and keep button mashing, and a lot of times it works. So you inherently have priority over your enemy's attacks when you start hitting them, that it just sort of sends them into an infinite animation that they can't get out of. But with an attack like that, you have to charge up. It's like they are going to react quicker than you can get that attack off most of the time. It worked for me well enough in Basara 1 with Masamune and his war dance, where I could establish that buff and then run into combat, and I would already have it established instead of just trying to cast it over and over again right in front of an enemy and getting hit. Speaking of which, we have a new enemy type here. These guys, I don't really know what they're called, but they're a big brawling enemy with a mace, and they hit the ground and send a shockwave at you, similar to what we're going to do as Keiji right now. Of course, the enemy's attack goes further than ours does, but we'll counteract his attack with our own similar attack. And it does a lot of damage, but it just takes far too long to use. The other one I have equipped is one you can tap triangle to just use it once, or you can mash triangle a bunch of times to send the enemy up into the air like I've been doing, and it gets a bunch of enemies flustered in together in one group, and he slams the ground really hard too. And you can use a aerial triangle attack as well to slam the ground. Keiji just sort of slams his butt onto the ground, sort of, and that's how he does damage. It seems to be pretty effective, so that's one of my favorite secondary moves to have on Keiji. I really do like the two moves that we started out with, though, where they were really nice. I'm going to be demonstrating, obviously, all of his, and some of his, don't get me wrong, they're kind of weird, but we're definitely on the right track, though, usually I'll try to demonstrate every secondary move for a character, and then on the last couple of levels, after I've demonstrated them all, I'll stick with the one that I like the best. So we'll definitely be seeing that later on in Keiji's campaign. So, again, going back to what I was talking about earlier with Dragon Quest Heroes, that's another game that I plan to Let's Play. I've been test playing the crap out of the first one. It really is going quite well. So, some of you who've been following my channel for a while may notice I'm definitely shifting focus with what genres I like to record. Before, it was like a lot of FPS, RPG hybrids, and platformers, and I've definitely shifted my focus because these games are a lot more obscure. They have cult fan bases, and I know that, you know, there is a demographic out there that will appreciate this compared to a AAA title where, you know, you'll have some streamer on Twitch or something like that, or some big name channel that will play it blind and get more views than I would doing a thorough Let's Play of it. So really, it's absolutely not worth it to me anymore. Even to Let's Play games like the new Doom or Mankind Divided or Dishonored 2, which are some of my absolute favorite games this year, it's just not worth it. Even though I have a lot to say about those games, it's just not worth it to dedicate the time into a full Let's Play when that Let's Play is going to get literally no views. So I might as well shift focus and do another genre that I'm passionate about, do some more obscure things with cult fan bases, and do some anime games. And again, it's not that I'm pandering, it really is that I like these genres. I really love these franchises that I'm doing these games based off. I mean, you have no idea how ecstatic I am to be doing the Sengoku Basara series and a Fate game nonetheless, and Berserk, Attack on Titan, Dragon Quest. I'm thrilled. Like, I'm not pandering at all. I absolutely love the direction that I'm going with this. So enough about that, and on to this boss battle. So we're gonna fight Sarutobi Sasuke, who we fought a little bit in the first game, but he's beefed up quite a bit in this one. He is Dark Elemental, I believe, and he's got some unique abilities. We never played as one of the ninja characters in the first one. I wanted to, but it really was not worth it. I mean, he's actually a fan favorite character in terms of gameplay and of the story, but I don't think he's actually based off of anyone in history. I think he may be a fictional character based off of sort of more unverifiable myths. But from what I've found is the later you get into this series, the tougher the ninja characters are. Like when we get to Basara 2 Heroes and Basara 3, there's another ninja character that gets introduced, and he is a tough cookie. We'll see that when we get to that. But yeah, so the gameplay for the ninja characters is very interesting, though. It is quite different than the more samurai type characters, even though that wasn't probably intentional. It's probably just a more stylistic tempo. But again, they do have like the gliding abilities that only the ninjas have, where you can sort of do a double jump and glide. In the first game, Sasuke would use like he would use the hang glider, and Kasuga would use... Oh no, I'm sorry. He would use the bird, and Kasuga would use the hang glider, which is interesting considering that the hang glider came from Sasuke in the anime. Of course, like I've established, those two things are not exactly a connected canon, much to our frustration. So he's actually dealt quite a bit of damage to me, and that's what I get for playing on this difficulty, but it's all par for the course. We managed to defeat him nonetheless. In Basara 1, playing as Sasuke, actually, some of the missions that you did were backwards. Like, you had a separate mission altogether where you had to infiltrate the Uesugi territory backwards, and you went and found Kasuga, but disguised as Kenshin and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of unique missions for the ninja characters, and maybe when we get to Basara 2 Heroes, I'll show off the new ninja character. If you guys know who I'm talking about, I don't want to spoil it. Let me know if you want to see that character. But if you don't, I'm planning initially just to do the 3 campaign story mode characters for Basara 2 Heroes and then moving on, because those are the new characters anyway that are not in this game. Well, they're in this game, but they're not playable in this game. And they're the ones that I would most like to play as anyway, so that'll make that Let's Play short and sweet, and I'll be able to show off the best new aspects of it, because it's the same engine as this game, but with some new playable characters. So after we beat down this wall, hopefully Yukimura will come out and fight us. Again, you know, he's forced in to play the boss of the stage and not come out and fight us immediately, which he would obviously do if this was the real character. That charge attack where we slam our sword in the ground is not going to be very effective against him, I will say. But yeah, I'm very, very excited to do Basara 2 Heroes. Some of my favorite characters are in that one. And then once I'm done with Basara 2 Heroes and the HD collection has been completely recorded, then it's open season, like it's free game. Basara 3 after that, man, it just gets better and better the more we move on with this series. And I'm excited. One hell of an intro there, Yukimura. Alright, so he's got his upgraded spears that are fire elemental, so we're definitely going to try to stay away from that. And he has very similar moves as he did in the first game, so we already know what to expect when fighting him. He was pretty fun to play as in the first one, and I've played as him a little bit in the second one too, although he hasn't changed significantly enough where I'll actually demonstrate playing as him in this one. I wanted to play as Yukimura and Masamune in every Basara game, but I felt like that would just get repetitive, so I decided for Basara 2 that there wasn't really any point in playing as them when I've already played as them in Basara 1, so I'm going to wait until Basara 3 before I play as them again, and I will just talk about some of the key differences. I can't speak as much for the key differences with Yukimura because I don't feel like there are as many, but some of the moves that you have as Masamune you unlock in a different order. So things like, what is it? Magnum Step, and there's another move that you unlock in a different order, and it just, overall Masamune feels a little bit better in this game than he did in Basara 1, and that's saying something considering he performed really quite well. The only thing I don't like about Yukimura in these games, is, at least in, I can definitely say this in Basara 1 and 2, is that the way he carries his spears when he walks just looks very awkward, the way he sort of has that weird stance and he lets them kind of fall behind him a little bit and just kind of wobble there. It just looks awkward. It looks like they have no weight to them. So another thing I'll mention, I don't know if I've mentioned this before already, is that bosses in this game have their own gauge. They didn't have that in Basara 1, so we can actually, if we're not careful, they can unleash their drive, which we don't want that to happen. We have our own drive, actually. If you look at Keiji's sword icon there, where we switch secondary attacks, that will, when the icon is glowing like that, it means we can unleash our drive, which basically will just increase our damage until it expires. Most of these Mosu warrior style games have that. Fate Extella has it as well. And see, he just unleashed his there, and when you see him turning blue like that, it means it's fading away. So we got to watch that very carefully, because the more damage we deal to him, the more likely his gauge will fill up, and we can become susceptible to more damage. So we definitely want to avoid that. As you can see, it's already filling up, and very similar to the Basara attack in Basara 1, if you're at critical health, it'll just fill up on its own. So we can potentially ruin ourselves if we let the boss stay alive for too long at low health. But we managed to defeat Yukimura, so all in a day's work for Keiji.